Here are 12 rising AI and tech projects on GitHub right now. DeepCamera turns home or office security cameras into a local AI guard that can watch feeds, recognize events, and message you in Telegram, Discord, or Slack. The workflow seems to center on this Aegis desktop app plus a catalog of camera skills. So you're not just recording video, you're choosing what the system should notice and how it should react. I like that it runs on a Mac Mini or AI PC because with surveillance tools, the privacy story matters as much as the model stack. MiroFish-Offline runs a local simulation engine for public opinion, market mood, and other social dynamics, so you can model agent behavior without sending anything to cloud APIs. The workflow looks pretty operator-friendly. Spin up the stack, point it at Neo4j and Ollama, then watch multiple AI agents reason through a shared scenario and produce predictions on your own hardware. That local setup matters because the speed, privacy, and limits all come down to the machine you give it. Pascal Editor is a browser-based 3D building editor for laying out scenes and structural pieces with direct visual controls. What makes it feel serious is how the workflow is split. Node schemas define the parts. A central scene state tracks edits, and systems handle things like geometry generation and spatial queries while you work. That separation usually means you can add new building components without rewriting the whole renderer or interaction layer. DeepTutor is a study assistant that lets you chat with your course material, turn it into visual explanations, and generate practice work from the same knowledge base. The workflow looks pretty broad. You can ask questions across large document collections, switch into interactive learning views when plain text gets too fuzzy, then reinforce the topic with automated exercises. I like that it keeps research and tutoring in one lane, with document Q&A doing most of the heavy lifting. Supermemory gives an AI assistant a long-term memory layer so it can save facts, pull back the right context later, and work more like it remembers you. The practical flow here is pretty broad. There's a no-code app, plugins, and an MCP install path, which means you can use it directly or wire it into another agent stack. What matters is the retrieval surface, search, context recall, and client support, because that's where memory either feels useful or starts getting noisy. MoneyPrinterTurbo generates short videos from a prompt with basically one-click operator flow. The part that stands out is how much of the production chain it tries to cover for you. Script writing, voiceover, subtitles, stock or generated visuals, then framing for different aspect ratios so you can push towards shorts or TikTok without rebuilding the whole edit. It also looks pretty pragmatic about where this runs, with local setup, collab support, and clear hardware requirements. Deerflow is for long AI jobs that need to research, write code, and keep going without you babysitting every step. The workflow seems built around handing one goal to a main agent, then letting it spin up sub-agents, tool calls, and sandbox tasks, while memory carries context across a run that can last minutes or hours. What makes it feel practical is that it's not just chat glued together. There's a message gateway and explicit coding and research paths like InfoQuest. Last 30 days, Skill researches a topic across social feeds, video platforms, prediction markets, and the wider web, then turns the last month into a cited summary you can actually skim. What makes it useful is the operator surface. It plugs into Claude Code, Gemini, or Codex, so the agent can run the search workflow from your coding environment instead of a separate dashboard. It also needs extra auth for X search, which is a pretty real reminder that data access is part of the product. Lightdash is a self-serve BI app that lets teams explore warehouse data and build dashboards without filing every question through analytics. The useful bit is how it sits on top of shared business logic, so metrics and dimensions stay defined once, then non-technical users assemble charts from those building blocks instead of writing raw SQL. It's open source, you can run it locally or deploy it, and that model layer is really the whole bet. Coolify gives you a Heroku-style control panel for deploying apps, databases, static sites, and one-click services onto servers you already own. The workflow is pretty direct. Point it at a VPS, bare metal box, or even a Raspberry Pi over SSH, then manage builds, services, and data from one place instead of stitching together Docker commands by hand. That own server angle is the whole draw because you keep the familiar past surface without giving up where things run. FunASR turns raw speech into usable text, and it handles the messy parts around that too, like detecting when someone is actually talking and cleaning up the transcript afterward. What makes it practical is the operator surface. You can pick from a model zoo, run a quick command line path, and choose between regular batch transcription or streaming for live audio. That split matters because live captions and offline processing have very different latency trade-offs. Sniffnet is a desktop app for watching your internet traffic in real time without dropping into terminal tools. The workflow seems pretty approachable. You install it, pick the network adapter you care about, and it breaks live connections into readable charts, host details, protocols, and traffic stats, so you can spot what's noisy or unexpected. I like that it also leans into practical stuff like filters, notifications, and a troubleshooting section for rendering and missing dependencies. Subscribe to Build Things with AI for more GitHub AI tool roundups.